Okay, so hi and hi. We have going through our verbs today, as you know. So we're looking at verbs, which are our action words, the words that we use when we want to talk about what we did. If we swim, we eat, we play, we talk, we read, we write. So all of these words are called verbs. And we have a time, if we think about talking about in the past, the present, or the future. So with our verbs, as I said, they're action words. So they're actions that are happening in the past, in the present, or in the future. And today we're going to be doing the present of our verbs. That means when I'm doing an action, I'm doing it now in this moment. That's what present means, not in the past, like yesterday or last night or last year, or not in the future, like next week or next year, but now in this moment. So that's why it's called the present simple and the present continuous. So we're going to be doing two of the presents, and we're going to know the difference between them. Why do we need to do the present simple? When do we use the present simple? And when do we use the present continuous? Okay, so really important, as long as you understand what are verbs. Verbs are our actions, the things that we do, like we speak, we read, we write, we listen, we play, we dance, we sing. It's moving our body to do something. So that's how you think of your verbs, your actions. Okay, so let's have a look at the two presents for the verbs, the present simple and the present continuous. And why are they different, and when to use this one and when to use that one. Okay, so first let's look at the rules, and then we'll do lots of exercises. So we are here today talking about verbs. Okay, again, actions, right? Things that we do. So the first one I wanted to talk about is the present simple. Okay, so it has the word simple. That means it's the very simple way, the very basic way to make a sentence about what you are doing now. Because remember, present means now, in this moment, as I am speaking. So how do we make the sentence? Well, we have our subjects. So remember, I, you, he, she, it, we, they. So this is what we call our subject. So who is doing the action? Or you could start the sentence by saying my mum or my sister or my husband. So you start the sentence with a subject. This is what we call a subject. Who is doing the action? Who are you talking about? Is it you? I? Is it someone else? You? Is it he for a male? She for a female? We means that I am in the subject, like we, me, and someone else. Or they is like some other people, okay, that I'm looking at, plural, some other people. Now, to make the verb in the present, I just add the verb. Work, speak, listen, dance, read. So you have to know as much of your verbs as you can, because it will help you to say what you need to say. So all we do is we just put the verb. There is no ed, there is no ing to the ending. Okay, there's no ing here, no ed. It's just the verb. Work, speak, listen, dance. But in the present simple, for he, she, it, you must put an S. Okay, so for example, she works in the city. He plays football. My dog walks everywhere in the house. Okay, so whatever it is, only for he, she, it, we need to put that S to the action word. But for I, you, we, they, no, just the verb. So that's how we make what we call a positive sentence. So a positive sentence means it's an action which is happening, like I work, I speak English, I play football. It's just a positive, true information of what is happening. Now, to make a question, that means I'm going to ask a question. I need to use the verb do for I, you, we, they, or to start my sentence with does for he, she, it. So only for he, she, it, you have to remember, you have to say does. Okay, so for the question, you start with do. So for example, do you work in the city? Okay, I'm asking now in your life, do you work in the city? Do you speak Spanish? Do you play a sports? But if I'm asking about he, so maybe like your husband or your friend or she, your sister or your mother, I'm asking about someone else, then I need to say, does he work in the city? Does she work at home? So we only change this part here. Now, if you have a look, the verb are the same. So you do not put an S in the question for the verb. Only in the positive, you put the S. But in the question, the verb is the same. Work, speak, listen, dance. Now, to make a negative sentence, a negative means that you want to say something is not true. For the subjects I, you, we, they, you say don't, or you could do not. But for he, she, it, again, you have to change it and say doesn't. And if you have a look at the verb, they are the same. So for example, I don't work on the weekends. My husband, he doesn't play football. Okay, it's sentences like that. Information about now, in this moment in my life. So remember, you've got a positive sentence that we can make, a question, and a negative. So make sure you know how to start your sentence. So if you have a look, there is only one form of you in English, which is the same in the singular and the plural. The ending for he, she, it, this is the really important part, which we talked about. If you look at the ending for he, she, it in the positive, that's when, if the verb ends in these letters, then you need to add an ES. For example, he finishes, she watches. Okay, so just be careful. It depends on what the verb ending. So it's not just an S, maybe it could be an ES. Okay, very simple. That's why it's called simple. This is the first basic way to make a sentence, tell someone what is happening in your life now. So let's look at some more rules before we practice. So we're talking about, if you could see, we called this the present simple. Present means now. Simple, because this is just the simple rules, because then you have another way to talk in the present. So this is just the first one. It's called the present simple. So we use it for something which is permanently true. All that means is true information. For example, I come from France. He doesn't speak Spanish. We live in London. True information, yeah? I teach English. True information. I work in the city. True information. I love to swim. True information. So that's when the first rule, when we need to use it. So for true information about your life or someone else's life, about the verb, where do they live? What do they like? What do they do for a job? What do they speak? What do they enjoy to do? What action are they doing? Now, the second way is when we have repeated actions or habits. So when we're talking about not just today, I work, in the city, but what do I do, not just today, but in the whole week? It's repeated. I do it this week and then I do it next week again. It's a repeated habit. A habit means something that I do more than once. So for example, I can tell you about my routine or my habits. I can say, I get up at 6 o'clock every day. So not just today, but every day. That's a habit. What time do you leave work? So I'm not asking, so we can see that there's a question. Do you leave work? I'm not asking about now, like today, just in general. What time do you leave work every day? It's just a general question. That's why it's called your habit. Not one moment in time, but just many moments in time. Or as a negative, I don't see them very often. Okay, in general, I don't see my grandparents very often, or I don't read very often. Okay, that's telling you about my habit, my routine, what I do in the week. So that's the two ways that we need to use the present simple. One is for true information, and one is when I talk about my habits or my daily routines. What do I do? Not just today, but in my whole week, in my whole month, in my whole year. It's a routine. Okay, so let's practice. Remember, we're only doing the present simple for now. So let's rewrite each sentence as a positive or negative or as a question. So let's have a look. If the first one, we'll start with Peter. I'll do the first. I'll do the first one because I think they did it. So I visit my parents very often. I want to make it a negative. So you remember, to make it a negative, you need to add don't or doesn't, depending on the subject. But I have the subject I, so I know it's I don't visit my parents very often. So we have the positive sentence, the first one, and this one now, we made it a negative. We made it the opposite. Number two, I think I'll do the first three because I can see the answers are here. It's a question. Does he go to school every day? So we know we need to use does because the subject is he, she, it. So does he go to school every day? It's asking about a habit, a routine. And I want to make it a positive. So I want to give you true information. I say he goes to school every day. We know when we do he, she, it, we need to add the S to our action words, but be careful. Sometimes it's an ES or as we saw before, yes, the ES. Okay, she comes from Germany. That's a positive sentence, true information. I'm telling you where my friend comes from. So she, we know because that's the subject. We've got the S to our action word. She comes from Germany. Present simple. We want to make it a question. We know it's she. So we don't say do, because I'm not saying do I, do you, do we, do they, but does she? Because for he, she, it, does she come from Germany? And remember, the verb is the same. We don't put an S here. Only in the positive, we put an S for the he, she, it. Okay, so pretty simple rules. Let's practice starting with Peter for number 4. You got to make it a question. So you can read the first one and then make it a question.
Does she go to work by car?
Yes. So we had a positive. She goes to work by car. We want to make it a question. Does she go to work by car? Good. Number 5, Sarah. Make it a negative. So the positive is we watch TV every night, routine. We don't. Remember, doesn't is only for he, she, it. So we don't watch TV every night. So just be careful. Only doesn't is for he, she, it. We have some great sunlight coming in. Okay, we're going to go to German, number 3. You have to make it a positive. So we can see it's a negative. He doesn't walk to work every day.
He
Perfect. He walks with the S because we know he, she, it. We add an it. He walks to work every day. Back to Peter. She plays football every Sunday. How do I make it a question?
does she uh,
Does she play football every Saturday? And you can see it's asking about someone's routine. And make sure you add the question mark when you are writing. Yeah, and we have does because for he, she, it, we must say does, not do. Do is only for do you, do I, do we, do they. Okay, Sarah, we have he washes his car every week. Let's make it a question. Does he wash his car every week? Yeah. Does he wash his car every week? So I can see, again, a question. And remember, when we say does for the subject, the verb is not with an S. It's only with an S in the positive. So in the question, no S to your action. So does he wash his car every week? German? We need to make a question.
they Australia?
Yeah, perfect. Do they live in Australia? Good. We know we have the subject they. To make it a question, do. 10?
Do they go to school by bus?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Do they go to school by bus? Question. Subject they. 11. She didn't. She doesn't. Because remember, doesn't is in the present, didn't is in the past. So she doesn't work at 5. Sorry, we need to make it a positive. She works at 5. So the question is, does she work at 5? This is a question. But to make it a positive, we start with the subject. She works. We know for he, she, it, we must put an S. So she works at 5. I'm telling you about my friend's routine. 12, German. We need to make a question. He goes to the cinema on Fridays.
Go
Yes. Does he go to the cinema on Fridays? You could see it's a question about someone's routine, about their habits. So good. We have does because we know the subject is he, she, or it. 13, I come from Africa. That's a positive, true information. We need to make it a negative.
don't come from
Yeah, perfect. I don't come from Africa. Yep. 14, does he live in this street? We need to make it a positive. Yes. So we want to make it a positive. Remember, a positive starts with the subject. So he lives in this street. True information. Okay, so remember, positive means true, like you're starting your sentence with a subject. And because it's he, we need to put the S to the verb. So he lives in this street. 15, he works in a restaurant. Let's make it a question.
West
Yes, I think you have a lot of questions today. Does he work in a restaurant? Question, good. Make sure you take note of the British spelling or Australian of restaurant, because Americans spell this word differently. So good. It's a question. Does, we can see he, no S. Does he work in a restaurant? 16. She gets up at 5 o'clock. How do I make it a question?
Does she get up?
Perfect. Does she get up at 5 o'clock? Yeah. I'm just going to make it shorter like this, just to show you another way that you can write it. Good question. We start with does. Subject is she. 17. They eat a lot. We need to make it a negative. Perfect. Yeah, they don't eat a lot. Good. 18.
Here.
As a positive, perfect. He works here. We can see it's talking about true information, and we know we have the subject he, so we need to put an S to our action. Okay, that was all that we had for the present simple. So really quickly before we go to the present continuous, it's talking about an action which is happening now in the moment, and it's for two reasons we use the present simple. Remember, when we're giving true information about what is true in our life now, or when we're talking about routines and habit. What do you do every day? What time do you wake up every day? What time do you go to bed every day? What time, like, when do you go to play your games? How often do you play your games? Habit, more than once, not just an action that you do one time, but you do this action again and again and again. That's why it's called a habit. Okay, that's present simple. Let's go to present continuous. Now, present continuous, we can see that present, we know that present means now in this moment. So it's the same. We're talking about what is happening now, but it's continuous. So let's have a look. Why is this different to the simple? Continuous means the action is continuing. But how do we make this sentence? If you have a positive, it's the same subjects. I, he, she, it, we, you, they. But you could see that we need to use M is R. Now, M is R is when we have the verb to be. So this is the verb to be. So we need to use this verb to be, but it depends on the subject. If it's M, it's I am. If it's is, that's for he, she, it. But if we're we, you, or they, because it's plural, we say are. And then you can also connect the subject and the verb to be. So it can be I'm, his, she's, it's, where, your, there. And you have the verb. But now, if you look at the verb, there is an ing ending. Not like before, there's an ing in the continuous. So there's two things in the continuous. There's the verb to be after the subject. So you've got your subject, then you've got your verb to be, and then the action with the ing. So if I write this rule, it looks like this: subject plus to be, because to be, it depends if it's M, is, are. So you need to know which subject, who are you talking about first, and then the verb with the ing. So this is now how we make a present continuous sentence. So we're still in the present. We're talking about now, what is happening in our life now, but just a different structure. We must follow these rules: subject, M is are, depending which one, and then the verb with the ing. So these two are very important. Now, to make a question, you start with the verb to be, M is are, then the subject, and then the action. So you just switch. Now you put the verb to be first in the question. So to be plus subject plus verb with the ing. So we just changed it. And remember, it's a question mark if we're writing. So for example, in a positive, it's something like, I'm working right now. I am learning English right now. I am speaking to you right now. So it means exactly in the moment that I'm speaking. Not true information. It's true, but it's like exactly now as I speak. And as a question, it could be, are you working today, Jomund? Are you playing soccer today? Are you going to work today? Okay, it's a question about now in this moment. What are you doing? To make a negative, we add not. So you can see not in the negative. And where do you add it? You have your subject, you have your verb to be, and then you have the not here before the verb. So for example, I am not playing games on my phone right now. I am not learning another language. And we can also connect the verb to be with the negative. So it could be, he isn't working today. My husband isn't working today. Or it could be aren't. We aren't going to the movies today. We aren't doing something. Okay, so when do we need to use it? When we have an action in the process now. That means in the moment that you are speaking, it's exactly happening, this action. I can see it. So if there's a child in this room, I can say, the child is walking. If I'm looking at an action and it's happening exactly the moment that I'm speaking, that's when you use the continuous. So for example, I'm reading a grammar book now. So imagine I'm doing that and I'm saying to you, what are you doing? You say to me, what are you doing? And I say to you, oh, I'm reading a grammar book. So it means it's exactly the action I'm doing as I am speaking. To ask a question, what are you looking at? She isn't eating at the moment. Negative. Okay, let's practice. Remember, this is called the present continuous. A little bit different to the present simple. It is in the moment. We've got the present. That means we're speaking now about what is happening in our life now. Just different rules. So let's rewrite each sentence. I'll do the first three. The first two. So for example, she's watching television now. I want to make that a question. Is she watching television? I can see the ing. Remember, when we do a question, we start with the verb to be. So I'm asking someone, where is your wife? Is she watching television now? Okay, present continuous is now, exactly in the moment that I'm speaking. Number two, he isn't staying at this hotel. That's a negative. I want to make it a positive. He's staying at the hotel. Just be careful, there's a spelling mistake here. So just write the. So it's true information, and it's exactly where is this person? He's staying at the hotel right now. As I'm speaking to you, he is in the hotel. He's staying in the hotel. She's reading. We need to make it a negative. So she isn't reading. We can see the ing. Reading. She isn't. We connected the verb to be with not. She isn't reading. Okay, we'll start with Peter for number 4. They're working. How do I make that a question in the present continuous?
Are they working?
Perfect, yeah. Are they working? So maybe I'm asking about your parents and I'm saying, oh, where are they? Are they working now? Like exactly now as we speak, are they working? Okay, Sarah, number 5, he's writing a letter. We need to make it a question. Yeah. Is he writing a letter? Perfect. And because it's a question, yeah. So right now, where is he? Maybe I'm talking about Tom. Where is he? Is he writing a letter? Is he studying? Is he playing football? Like, what is he doing? Number 6, he's eating. How do we make it a negative? Go to Peter for number 6. His,
He isn't eating.
yeah, or he's not eating. Yeah. So remember, we can make it isn't. We can connect the verb to be is with the not, or he's not eating. So I'll write both ways. So he isn't eating. Yep. Number 7, Sarah, I'm not working. How do I make it a positive? I'm working. Perfect. Yeah. So if I said, what are you doing? Where are you? You could say, well, I'm busy. I'm working. Number 8, she's studying at the moment. German. How do I make it a question? Is she studying at the moment? Good. As a question, you know that when we have the subject in the question, we must start with the verb to be. So is she studying at the moment? Number 9, I'm sleeping. Negative.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not sleeping. So what are you doing right now? Well, I'm not sleeping. I'm studying. I'm talking. 10, you're reading my newspaper. Make it a question. Yeah. Are you reading my newspaper? Yep. So question 11, she's writing a letter as a question. German. Yeah. With a question mark, is she writing a letter right now? 12, he's talking to Mary. Yeah. Is he talking to Mary now? So where is he? What is he doing right now? Is he talking to Mary? 13, they're not playing football as a positive. Perfect. Yep. They, or you could say they're playing football. 14, he's listening to the radio. How do I make it a question? Peter?
Uh, is he listening to the radio?
Is he listening to the radio? Good. As a question. And the last one, Sarah, you're playing with my football. How do I make it a question? Are you playing with my football? Question. Okay, I know this was very easy. We just did the present continuous. Just remember the difference rules. That's all. The continuous is exactly what are you doing now in this moment. Remember, you've got to use the verb to be and then put an ing to your action. Okay, let's look at them both together. So this is where it's going to get a little bit hard. We're going to practice. You're going to see if you need to put them in the present simple or the present continuous. So the first one says she's reading at the moment. Continuous, I can see the ing. Number 2, we need to make it a question. So do you go? That's meant to be a G. Do you go to work by car? Asking about someone's routine. How do you go to work every day? Do you go to work by car? This is in the simple. You should be able to see these grammar rules. This is the simple, and this was the continuous. Number 3, we'll go with Peter. So it's I not watch television every night. I think they already did it. I don't watch television every night. Sorry. So yes. So this was don't. We know that's the present simple. Don't. Because we got no ing. We know that this is from the present simple. I don't watch television every night. It's talking about my routine, my habits, That's something that I don't do every night. I don't watch television. Number 4, I think they've done this one as well. So I'll do number 4. I'm not watching television at the moment. So we could see continuous. And I know it's continuous whenever you see a phrase like now or at the moment, that is continuous because it's exactly now at the moment. So that tells you that this must be in the continuous with the ing and the verb to be because it has the words at the moment or now. But if you look at the simple has words more like every night, every day, often, sometimes, always. So the simple has different phrases than the continuous. The continuous, if you say at the moment or now, it's more likely to be a continuous. Okay, 5 with Peter.
5. When asked of
It sounds like it's a routine because it's got every. So what do I need to use when it's a routine? Because it's not saying now. I'm not saying we are seeing my parents now at the moment, but the simple, because it's a routine. No, not the continuous. We see the simple. We see our parents every week. So I'm talking about my routine. So you have to remember what is the difference between the present simple and the present continuous. The simple is because we are talking about a routine. And this word every week, that's showing me it's a routine more than once. Not now in this moment, but every week, routine. Okay, 6. So you have to choose, is this going to be in the simple or the continuous? You have to make it a question. So yes, are you? Good. We know it's a continuous question. Are you listening? Are you listening to the radio now? We know it's a continuous because I can see that word now. So this one is a continuous. Because I'm asking exactly what are you doing now? This is a simple because it's a routine. Every is a word that we use when we're talking about a routine. Every morning, every night, every day, every week. Number 7, we need to make it looks like a negative. And it's got every. So remember, what is the word every from? And every is more like a simple. So you can do it, Peter, if you want.
Number 7. I don't get up at 7 o'clock every morning.
Yes, I don't get up at 7 every morning. So I'll just make this good. Yep, I can see the negative with the don't. And it's a routine every morning. I'm not just talking about now, at the moment. I'm talking about every morning. And Peter for Sarah, number 8. It's got now, exactly. So don't forget the verb to be. Peter is talking to Susan now. Number 9, they work in the restaurant at the weekends. So it sounds like a routine at the weekend. That's a routine. And it's a question. So what would I say? Yeah, Peter?
Right?
Yeah.
Are there work in the restaurant at the weekend?
Sorry, yes, it is a simple because it's just remember that in England they say at the weekend, we say on the weekend. So I'll just fix that one first. And it should be they work. Are they working in the restaurant on the weekends? It's a routine. I would say do. Do they work in the restaurant on the weekends? Because it's a routine. I'm asking about their routine, their habit. So not now, didn't say now or in this moment or today. It's not specific in time. It's in general on the weekends. So simple. Number 10, she listened to the radio in her bedroom at the moment. So remember, at the moment is your continuous. So how do I make that for Sarah? Number 10, yeah. She is listening. Yep, she's listening to the radio. Yep, I don't have space, so I'll just leave it there. She's listening to the radio in her bedroom at the moment. Number 11, Peter, you got to make it a negative. Yes, talking about a routine. They don't come to school every day. Good. 12, it's a question. It has now. Now is a continuous. So, yeah. Are you working now? Yep. So continuous questions. 13, the children go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Children go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Sounds like a routine. The children go to bed. So it was the simple. They go to bed at 8 because I'm telling you a routine of theirs. This is what they do, not just now at the moment, but every night. They go to bed at 8 o'clock every night. So really this would have every night. The children go to bed at 8. It's a simple because it's talking about their routine. So simple. Number 14. I leave the office every day at 5. Now remember, every day is your routine. So yeah, exactly. I leave the office every day at 5. It's talking about my routine, not just now at the moment, but every day.
I'm sorry, I can't talk to you now. I go out.
I'm going out. Continuous because you've got the word now. So you need to continue talking about what you're doing now in this moment. I'm going out. Sorry, I can't talk to you now. Imagine I'm on the phone to someone. I can't talk to you now. I'm busy. I'm going out now. So whenever you see the words now or at the moment, then you know it is a continuous. 16. Are Peter and Jane working? Are Peter and Jane working in London at the moment? We know it's continuous. It's a question. It's got starting with are and then the ing. Good. So are and then the subject. We can see the subject is plural. 2 people. Are Peter and Jane working? At the moment, continuous. 17.
Mary and Susan driving to the office every day.
Every day is a routine, so no ing. So Mary and Susan drive to the office every day. So simple, because it's not now, it says every day. That's a routine, habit. 18. Yeah, exactly. We are going to the beach now because it's now in this moment. So continuous. 19.
John listening to the radio at the moment.
Yeah, you forgot to say is. Don't forget in the continuous, not just we put the ing, but we need to use the verb to be. So John is listening to the radio at the moment. 20? Yeah, good. So plural, are your parents sitting in the garden now? We know because now it's continuous. So good, we've got the verb to be, we've got the ing, and we can see that word now. 21.
Start every night at 8 o'clock.
Good. It's a simple because we know it says every night. And yes, when the subject is he, she, or it, we know the film is it. It starts. So we need to add the S here. So it starts every night at 8. 22. They don't go to the cinema very often. Yeah, so it's talking about a routine. We need to use the simple, so they don't go to the cinema. I can see very often that's your routine, talking about someone's routine. 23.
Um, Are you go into the office every month?
It's got the word every, so that's routine. So do you go into the office every month? Simple. So you got to use your simple question, your simple tense, present simple, because I'm talking about your routine every month, not now or at the moment, but every month. And the last one, 24. I'm not studying at the moment. Yep, so we can see it's the continuous, it's a negative, continuous because we've got the word not, the ing, and especially says at the moment. That means now. I'm not studying now. Not, every day, every week. Now, I'm not studying. So continuous. Okay, so that's really quickly just the first quick lesson that we got into with the present simple and the present continuous. So remember, simple, we're talking about true information, like I live in Australia, I speak English, I like to swim. Or routine, like I go to work every day, I swim every week. That's a routine. I don't work on the weekends. And then the continuous, remember, because it's asking about now or at the moment. So you need to put the verb to be. I am working right now. I am learning a new language right now. I'm watching a movie right now. I'm relaxing right now. It's something, an action that I'm doing now or in the moment. Okay, we'll have a quick